Hey everybody, what is up? You're watching Super Nintendo Collection Quest, the monthly video where I go over my recent Super Nintendo game pickups. I play through each one for a little bit and see if it's a game I might like to come back to. Now this month is going to be a special video because I recently made a trip out to the 8-Bit Hall of Fame in Bonita Springs, Florida, and I picked up a ton of games. So many, in fact, that I cannot put them all into one video. So I'm going to be splitting the October video into 3 parts. You're watching part 1, and let's just get right to it.
As a kid, I loved my NES, but when I got my Super Nintendo, that was it. Great graphics, sound, and gameplay, I was hooked. Some of my fondest gaming memories are from playing some of the greatest RPG, adventure, action platform, and multiplayer games on the SNES. It is my goal to own every North American Super Nintendo game released. So, follow me on my quest to Super Nintendo completion.
So, oh my goodness, I was so surprised at how many $5 to $10 games I was able to pick up at 8-Bit Hall of Fame. Now you'd think with as few games that are remaining for my collection that I would just need like the really super rare, expensive games, but like I would say half the games I picked up at 8-Bit were like within the $5 to $10 range, which is pretty awesome. So I got a lot of the I guess I don't want to call them common because I should have been able to find them by now, but the cheaper games that I've been unable to locate up until now. Anyway, so let's just get right to it. For this month, I picked up number 586 in my collection, Street Hockey 95. Street Hockey 95 was released in 1994, exclusive to North America. It's basically an urban roller hockey game. The game features some very 90s speech.
Gnarly! Stylish, dude!
And over 2,000 frames of digitized animation. Although I couldn't even really tell that the in-game sprites were digitized, probably due to the low resolution and color palette limitations. You can choose from 5 different game modes and 9 different characters, each with their own strengths. We've got Jill Powerchild with her nasty slaps, Abe Flappin' Dread, the king of the sky, Lars Shred Dog, professional puck stuffer, ooh, I bet he is, Grace Wu with her turbo glide, Victor Nowhereman, the ozoner, Eric Sweathead, the Wackrabat, Lenya Kamazar with the solid steel, and Buzz Stiley with the sticky D. Ew. There are 6 different arenas to play in. Some have ramps and other obstacles. The controls aren't very responsive and the music is very lacking. But the digitized speech is a nice addition and there's a good amount of variety in game modes.
Rejected!
Next, I picked up number 587, Alien vs. Predator. Alien vs. Predator was released in 1993. The game is a single-player beat-em-up, not to be confused with the awesome 3-player Capcom arcade game with the same name. The Super Nintendo game is pretty stale in comparison to many other games in the beat-em-up genre. You control as the Predator and you take out waves of aliens, always 2 at a time for some reason. The AI is also very weak. It doesn't take too long to exploit weaknesses in every enemy and boss in the game. Combined with unlimited continues, it's a pretty simple game, although I did enjoy the rare occasion when I encountered a new enemy type and had to figure out which stupid move I could get away with to easily kill it. Here's a fun boss battle. This is gonna take a while. Number 588, The Adventures of Mighty Max. The Adventures of Mighty Max was released in 1994. It's based on the cartoon Mighty Max, which was based off a series of toys. The goal of the game is to navigate each stage in search of 3 weapon parts. You'll need to get creative as you figure out how to navigate each weapon part to the end portal. Each stage is almost like a puzzle that you will need to solve, although your goal is essentially the same in each area, so the game can feel rather repetitive after a while. The arrow at the top of the screen points you to the next nearest weapon piece. You'll run into enemies along the way which you'll need to knock out and throw to get rid of them for good. The fact that the enemies stay dead in this game is one of my favorite features. It's something you don't see too often in older games. There's also a time limit. When that runs out, you'll lose a life. Lose all your lives and you'll be able to continue for a limited number of times. Fortunately, when you die or continue, you come back right where you left off with all of your current progress saved. This game also utilizes a password system, but the passwords will start you off at the beginning of an area. Another great feature in this game is 2-player split-screen co-op. I always love it when I discover a new co-op game on the Super Nintendo. For the most part, I was pleasantly surprised by this game. I'm definitely going to come back and play this one more. Number 589, Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure. Boogerman was released in 1995 on the Super Nintendo, but first appeared on the Genesis in 1994. Your attacks are fart, belch, stomp, and booger flicking. There are over 20 levels for which to spew your feculence upon. The game is pretty well constructed with multiple paths, hidden secrets, and warp pipes. The difficulty is also well balanced, and there's a password system so you can resume your progress. The graphics are in somewhat of a cartoon style with good animation. The art style kind of reminds me of Commander Keen Part 4 through 6 on the PC. Overall, Boogerman is a fun platformer that I'll be coming back to. Number 590, WCW Super Brawl Wrestling.
FCI presents WCW Super Brawl Wrestling.
WCW Super Brawl Wrestling was released in 1994. It is exclusive to North America and is the only WCW game released on the Super Nintendo. The game features official licensing with some digitized graphics along with digitized speech of each wrestler's catchphrase. The gameplay is stiff and somewhat lacking. I just didn't find it very much fun to play. I'm sure it's much better to play with a friend. I just don't know anybody that cares enough about 90s WCW to play with. Number 591, I wish I had the ultimate accessory to go with this, Exertainment Mountain Bike Rally. Exertainment Mountain Bike Rally was released in 1994. It's essentially a mountain bike racing game that heavily uses Mode 7 effects for a 3D look. It plays exactly like Cannondale Cup on the system, with most of the same graphics and sound. The only changes I noticed were some of the riders' names have been changed, and the Cannondale bikes have all been renamed to remove the Cannondale brand. This version of the game was designed to be used with the Life Cycle fitness bike. Create a profile, and the game makes use of a save battery to track your progress. As you rack up the miles, you'll unlock new areas to race. During the races, there's a number of obstacles to avoid and power-ups to collect. You can even fight your opponents to get ahead. It's a neat game, but I don't really plan to get into this one unless I get my hands on the Super Nintendo compatible Life Cycle fitness bike. And finally, to wrap up the first part of this video, I picked up number 592 from one of my favorite game series, Super Bomberman. Super Bomberman was released in 1993. It was the first game on the Super Nintendo to support up to 4 players at once. I hope everybody knows about the Bomberman series by now, and if not, shame on you. It's one of the best multiplayer games available on almost every system. The single player mode features a password system so you can resume your progress, but the single player mode in this version is a bit stale compared to games later in the series. In North America, we only got Super Bomberman 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo. But if you look at the Super Famicom, you'll see they actually received Super Bomberman 3, 4, and 5 in Japan. You should be able to play these no problem without knowing any Japanese. I love the Bomberman series, and this game is certainly no exception, so I'm very glad to add it to my collection. Alright everyone, so to wrap up this video, I just want to say part 2 should be out very soon, and then finally part 3, I will announce the winner for the monthly game giveaway, and I hope to have those 2 out before the end of the month. That is my goal anyway. I still have to play through the rest of these games, review them, and then edit the footage, and it takes a while. But my goal is to finish it before the end of this month. I was a little late last month, but now we're like kind of ahead of schedule. So hopefully I can do that. I got lots more games to go through. Yes, we're definitely going to be over 600, so I'm really excited about that. Getting so much closer now. This batch of games I got from 8-Bit just really helped. Anyway, I got a lot of great games, and I can't wait to show them to you, so stay tuned.